Oh, I can't hold it, man. I'm sorry, I can't hold it, man. I'm sick. It hurts so bad. I'm dying, man. I'm dying. Oh. What up, what up, what up? We are back. Who am I? Jersey Street Corner, and this is the Prison Talk Show, people. So let's get into it. Now, I know y'all saw the thumbnail, and y'all like, what the hell could he be talking about now? Dying alone in prison is a terrible thing. And it happens more often than you would think. Now, I want y'all to think, people. If you have anyone in your family that has gone through cancer or anything of that sort and survived it, the stress that they went through, that their body went through, the mental trauma that you go through trying to survive cancer is excruciating. You might lose all of your hair. You might lose control over your bowel movements. You might just do things out of the ordinary that you would never do if you were not sick. Now, out in the free world, the struggle is lightened by all of the things that you have at your access, such as doctors. You have the option to go get chemotherapy, which can greatly increase your chances of living and possibly even removing the cancer altogether. But now in prison, I don't know if y'all know this or not, but just because you're sick doesn't exclude you from going to prison. If you are a criminal and you just so happen to be sick, well, you end up being a sick criminal in prison. And you don't get the same treatment that you could on the outside. So there will be no chemotherapy. There will be little assistance given. All you're going to get is a couple of horse pills every day. They're going to tell you, take 3 of these and see you tomorrow. Good luck. Yeah, the nurse will tell you good luck before she lets you go for the night. Because she knows those 3 pills probably are nowhere near enough treatment for your condition. But that's all the state can afford you. Essentially meaning the state could care less whether you pass away from your natural cause or not. Now, even though a lot of things can be prevented nowadays with the right medical care, the state don't care nothing about that. As far as they're concerned, hey man, he's a criminal. He got handle it how he handle it, man. This how he wanted his life to be. They not gonna have no sympathy on you. So you gotta have sympathy on yourself. Now, if you getting enough bread, you can make that call yourself and demand a real doctor if you got the money to pay for it. Or your people on the outside have the money to pay for the operations or surgeries or whatever it is that you might need. Now, if you don't have that bread, unfortunately, they just throw you back in population. Occasionally you get a trip to the infirmary and they'll take a look at you or whatever. But you're never going to get the medical attention that you need and desperately desire. So, with that being said, people, I know you saw the thumbnail and you're dying to get into it. Let's get into it. This story is going to be about an old white man named Dylan. Dylan had been down for over 20 years. Now, in this time of his incarceration, somehow Dylan came out to have stomach cancer. And once he got diagnosed, things just started going worse and worse and worse. As he got older, he started to, I guess the word is, lose control of body parts. So the prison wasn't doing him any favors. They weren't taking him to see a specialist. They weren't going to grant him, clemency and let him go because of his sickness. They decided to let him stay there in prison and suffer. So now you got this old man that would limp around the pod all day, moaning and groaning about the pains and, oh, my stomach. If I eat, it hurts. If I don't eat, it hurts. Oh my gosh. And, people are semi-sympathetic to a certain point. Inmates, first of all, ain't gonna never had no love for you, so you can't expect that. But in his circumstance, people understood that, OG going through it over there, man. Damn, I wish it was something we could do to help him, but he going through it. Now, excuse me. The only thing that could help him would be some radiation, honestly. Some direct radiation to his stomach. So, of course, everybody's a genius in prison. You'll have people tell him stupid stuff like, oh, gee, just stand in front of the microwave. Put it on 10 minutes and just stand in front of the microwave, maybe 3 times a day. And it's going to help. It's going to help. So OG would try it. I guess it can't hurt. It is some kind of radiation, right? And he'll try it, and he don't really see no difference or whatever. And, he'd be coughing and stuff and coughing up blood and going to the gate and begging the guards to take him to the medical. He having an issue, and they don't want to be bothered. They just want to sit there and play on their phone and play games and talk on the phone. So they just tell him, back up, inmate. Across the line, inmate. Back up or you're going to lock up. So he ain't have a chance at life, y'all. It wasn't like when you find out you got cancer on the street and you could just call somebody and say, I need you to please help me. Please get me to the doctor as soon as possible so I can get the hold on this thing before it gets worse. Nah, you are at the mercy of the COs in the prison. You are at the mercy of the warden. So if you can't get through to them, how bad your situation is, it'll just keep getting worse and worse and worse, y'all. And sometimes things get worse to the point where you're not even being treated like a human being anymore. It gets to the point in prison where it's cruel and inhumane to house somebody sick to the point where they need medical attention. And you completely ignore them because it don't look right on some paperwork if you lose an inmate. Now, normally, if there is a sick inmate on the unit, the inmates will get together, figure out who they willing to bunk up with, and demand certain cell changes to where that inmate is in a cell by themselves. But if the unit gets overcrowded, and that inmate just so happens to be the only one with the empty slot, well, guess what? That sick inmate will be getting company in his unit. Now, let me tell you why it really sucks being in a unit in a lockdown cell with somebody sick. Because you're locked down with this person overnight. Anything that happens in that cell, you're going to see more than likely. And whether or not you decide to help or get involved is another story. But just seeing some of the things that a sick person has to go through, it's like being in their shoes all day long. Now, when somebody is sick, having something such as stomach cancer, or they're extremely old, or whatever have you in prison, normally they're going to have that bottom bunk because A, they're too old to climb up to that top bunk, And B, you don't know what's going on with them, whether or not this person could hold their bowels or not, whether they have an issue, pee in the bed, whatever. So you don't necessarily want that person sleeping above you, pause. You gonna happily give them that bottom bunk and say, hey, do you, man, just do you. And you go head up to that top bunk and chill. Now, when you in a cell with somebody and normally you tell them, the normal thing is you gotta flush every time you drop one, if you're dropping a deuce, and you gotta have that white sheet up. When you're in a cell with somebody that's sick and their bowel movements are uncontrollable, you don't have no say-so when they flush, when they drop, if they even put the white sheet up, if they even make it to the toilet. And well, that's exactly what happened with OG Dylan. He was in a cell with a young boy, and the young boy knew he was sick, but he ain't know how sick he was. The young boy didn't have any idea that this man could not contain himself. One night, probably around 2 o'clock in the morning, Dylan got up out of his bed, choking and coughing. Next thing you know, Dylan was throwing up all over the floor. Then, y'all, I guess Dylan just couldn't hold it together. Big old plops of brown stuff start pouring on out. It's all in his bed. It's on the floor. And he trying to get everything together. He trying to contain everything so old boy don't notice it. But in the middle of this melee, young boy wakes up. And as soon as he wakes up, the smell hits him right in his nose from that top bunk. And he like, damn, what the hell is that, man? What the hell going on? And he looked down on the ground from that top bunk, and he see all that feces and throw up on the floor. And like, hey, man, is you alright? Man, you shit your pants, man. You shit your pants. What's going on? Now, Dylan, he looking surprised and embarrassed all at the same time. You're like, hey man, I'm sick, man. I'm sorry, man. I'll clean it up, man. I swear I'm going to clean it up. I'm sick, man. Please don't tell nobody, man. Please. I'm trying to get help, man. They won't take me to the hospital, man. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. So young boy just said, all right, man. Just clean that up, man. Dad, just clean that up. We got to be locked in here for at least another 4 more hours, man. Dang. You have to get some chemicals in the morning or something. So young boy just turned over and went to sleep. Went back to sleep. Like, fuck it. And Dylan, even though he was sick and could barely stand, let alone kneel down to the floor to clean it up, somehow he made his way to slop all that stuff up, get in the toilet, and clean everything up to the best of his ability. In the morning, of course, he was going to have to get a mop and some chemicals and clean the whole cell floor because that was just bacteria all over the floor. Excuse me. Now, of course, the young boy was going to go and tell people what happened. I don't know if Dylan really thought he wasn't, but immediately after lockdown was over, young boy at the mess hall during breakfast telling everybody, like, man, I hope Dylan don't eat no eggs and grits today, man, because whatever he had for dinner last night was all over the floor. I mean, he was letting it out, just blowing chunks out his behind, bro. Puking and blowing chunks out his ass. Shitting everywhere. Excuse me. And they're like, what? Nah, man, you lying, man. I'm telling you, man, he is really sick. They need to get him to a hospital or something, man. I can't stay up in the room with him, man. I feel like I'm going to get sick. I feel like I'm going to start throwing up, man, because it smells horrible. I wake up to throw up, man. You know the smell that is, and to be locked in there. I can't even go out for some fresh air. Nah, man, I gotta see if I can get transferred up out of there or something, man. I'd rather go to the hole before I stay in there with him. And they're like, dang, is that bad? Dang, don't go to the hole, bro. Don't do that. Not over nobody else, man. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We gotta get him some help or something. We gotta try and get him some help. So that's when all the inmates decided they was gonna rally up enough people and start demanding better treatment for the inmates. And they wanted to see the warden, and they said they wasn't gonna stop. They wasn't gonna stop making noise until the warden acknowledged that there's somebody in this pod that needs severe medical attention. And finally, the warden ended up listening, and he heard what happened about dude not being able to hold his bowels and whatnot. And was like, all right. And I guess it clicked in the warden's head that not helping this individual, Dylan, would be cruel and inhumane. And he did the right thing. He got Dylan up out of there, sent him to get the proper help that he needed. And once he got on a regimen of, his steady meds that he was supposed to be taking, a steady dialysis and chemotherapy schedule, he was allowed to serve his time while still being allowed to get those treatments. And sometimes, y'all, being a little human could mean the difference between life and being alive. And what do I mean by that? If that warden hadn't used his better judgment and his human side instead of his demon side, well, the demon side would have let, old boy Dylan just die in the cell. Like, whatever, it is what it is. It's prison. But his human side allowed Dylan a second chance at life. You gonna finish this sentence. You gonna pay for your crimes. And if and when you make it out, you will remember. Now, things don't always end up that nice. Stories don't always end that great in prison. Because I've seen many other people unalive from sicknesses in prison that may or may not have been preventable. But we'll never know because they never got the chance to be prevented. I've seen correction officers turn their back on inmates on their knees, dying, in pain, whether it be from stab wounds, or they can't breathe, or anything could be going wrong. I've seen them turn their back and walk away and say, hey, it's prison, right? You tough, right? Listen, y'all. When I say prison is not a real place, that's exactly what I mean. It's one of the toughest places in your mind you will ever visit. That's right. Prison is not only a space and a place, it's in your mind. And if you ain't playing the right warfare games, if you can't play a good game of chess, well, you will get taken advantage of. Whether you're a sick guy, a healthy guy, or just a straight up loser that deserves to be in the prison system. Listen, y'all, that's going to be it for this one. I hope you like this story. Dylan got some help. Whether or not he overcame that stomach cancer, which I doubt, that I don't know. But at least he got some help. And he can fight another day. Get in the comment box, y'all. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought. Like, share, subscribe. Hype this video. Y'all already know the vibes. And I am your boy, Jersey Street Corner. This is The Jersey Street Corner Prison Talk Show. And I'm out.